cartoon now.
Yes.
Oh, how easy it is for your species to pretend to be pregnant. But it's not exactly easy to learn. We show very early and very obviously.
Screaming children outside the spaceship?
I know. Someone evacuated them to evacuate space. And, really annoying.
How can they be so loud?
I don't know. You can't hear anything in space, but screaming Earth children, they
Can be heard everywhere.
They find a way. they like violate the laws of physics. In space, no one can hear you scream unless you're an Earth child.
In which case, everyone can hear you scream.
All the time, constantly.
You like children.
Anyone watching? I got some music playing just as we wait for people to show up.
What is it? Is it the Rush Limbaugh starting music?
I already told you I can't play that. It's copyrighted.
Can I say the name Limbaugh? Are we gonna get sued?
No, you can say that.
All right.
You can say Coca-Cola. It's a thing.
Limbaugh. Let's do the Limbaugh limbo. So there's a lot of legalities about creating a YouTube channel and using other people's stuff. Do those same laws apply to us out here?
That's a very good question. And one that has not... Well, I don't know if it's... yes. Yes, it has been tested. Kind of.
What?
Kind of. Okay, so... A Canadian astronaut, not too long ago, on the ISS, played a cover of a... Bowie song? I want to say it was a Bowie song. And
Oh, is it that dude with the mustache?
maybe?
I forget his name, but yeah.
Maybe. He played a cover like on his acoustic guitar, and someone, I don't know if the article was prompted or not, but someone broke down the legalities of doing that, because cover songs, you can't just cover something and then reproduce it, because it is a reproduction. You have to apply for a mechanical license.
Yeah, but he didn't like make money off of it.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can't just take people's IP and not make money off of it and still reproduce it. That's a violation of copyright. Reproduction.
Right, but it depends on how famous it is too, doesn't it?
No. If someone makes something, they own it.
If I just started to sing Queen right here, would we get in trouble?
If whomever owns Queen's music thought it was enough of a problem to them, but technically, yes, we are in violation. Okay. Now, if you do it for review and criticism, that's different. But if you're just reproducing something...
So if I sing the song and then, like, criticize every lyric,
sure,
then we're good?
Sure. No, if you sing the lyric and then talk about it, that's not replacing it. But anyway, so...
So what about out here?
Well, so that's what I'm trying to get to. So
what about out here?
I'm going to stab you in the face. That's how about... So someone broke down what they had to go through to get the permission to do it, and then to put it up on YouTube, because that makes another difficulty. Because if you're just performing it like within the States, that's different from performing it internationally. Now, the question gets even more complicated, like, well, what if it's in space? Who owns the ISS? A multitude of countries, technically, right? Like, I don't think anyone owns it
No, but
outright.
nobody knows this. But who owns the space that the ISS is in? I think is the more important
That's the other problem. Is there's international waters. Is there international airspace?
Are they in international atmosphere?
I guess. Like I'd have to go back and read it again. It was a little complicated because this is a very novel concept. So I think technically where we are, out in, well, I mean, we're nowhere near Earth.
Well, I mean, we're the only ones here, so I guess we could be the policymakers for this planet. In which case, everything's okay. No tariffs.
There's no jurisdiction where we are, so it's technically lawless and like it's
godless.
It's violating a law that cannot be enforced where we are. So I guess technically it is illegal, but who's going to enforce it?
Oh, you made that boring.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, the law being boring. Who knew? All right, we've
There's
got
a reason
Beth.
I didn't go into law.
We got Beth here. Hi, Beth. I'm sure that was very, very interesting.
She's not even paying. She put on something else in the background.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. So what have you been doing in your leisure time, Abysmii?
Getting drunk.
Getting drunk?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have enough alcohol left on the ship still?
I mean, I kind of like filter and distill the rocket fuel.
Oh, right. So then we're never going to get off this planet if we keep turning that into alcohol.
Well, it's cool because my waste byproduct is a form of rocket fuel.
What?
So
you ferment the rocket fuel, and once it goes through your body, it turns back into rocket fuel.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why do you think my species was spacefaring so damn quickly ahead of everyone else?
So you just, everything you produce becomes rocket fuel?
Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder about that. That's like, not, no.
You wanted to know more about me.
No.
Okay, so today we are going to read a story from someone you've probably never heard about. I mean, he writes stories kind of lame.
Who?
You ever heard of him? Slime Beast?
Well, I've heard of the goo people. What's a slime beast?
Not related.
Not related?
No relation. He writes a lot of stories, runs a few websites and some YouTube channels, but like, who doesn't these days? So do I.
So basically he's just a nobody. What makes his story so good? Why are we reading his story?
Why are we reading his stories? Because he paid me a lot of money to do it.
Oh, god damn it. So much favoritism with you.
I know. So much nepotism. I have to let Space Kitty in.
Space Kitty. Just pick her up. Just grab her. He's chasing her down the hallway. Mousy. Get right here.
Go with her.
Mousy. What do you want, Mousy? Oh, okay.
Nothing, apparently. Okay. So we are reading After People by Der Slime Beast. So in all seriousness,
After People?
Big inspiration to the channel. Work with him a lot on lots of stuff. You should go check out his game, campcadaver.com. I did the music for it. He used to narrate his stories back when I did that sort of thing. And we've read stories of his on this channel before.
Yeah.
We're fans.
I played Overwatch with him once. That's about it. That's all I got.
It's my degrees of separation.
Uh-huh.
Is she trying to...
I don't know what the hell
she's trying to open the door.
Is she?
She was at one point.
That's crazy. I don't think she is. I know she's figured out how to get into the closets, though.
Well, yeah. She figured that out super quick.
Oh no, she's chasing a little silver buck.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
We
she
have
can
a
eat
couple
that.
of those again.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Okay.
The ship is just infested right now.
This is called After People. Now, full disclosure, we've both read this story. We read it not too long ago, but it's very... I almost want to say, like, kind of uncommon to the rest of his types of stories. Not too uncommon, but it's
story.
different. It's different from the other ones I've read by him, and he has an enormous backlog, so I would go check that out when you have the time. But this one feels very... I don't want to give it away, but it felt appropriate for our channel, and maybe people will pick up on it as we talk about it.
The entry was on January 1st of 2013, so it's kind of an old story.
Happy New Year. So it's called After People. You can find this on his website, slimebeast.com. You awake?
No.
You awake, ready to do this?
No. Coffee puts me to sleep.
Okay. Episode 001, Pilot. Nia awakens to find herself trapped in a ruined city clogged with garbage. Who are the after people, and what do they want from her? That was the write-up in the magazine. I've never been one to actually check upcoming television slots, not really one for television in general. In a hospital room, however, you have a lot of time to scour all the details.
This particular listing was for a show called After People. The title sounded vaguely like some sort of X-Men ripoff, and had it not been for the hours of lying in bed, waiting to heal, I never would have inadvertently memorized it. Despite the late hour it aired, the show itself seemed targeted towards children, or at least family viewing. It was nothing I was interested in, but a quick trip through the channels proved to offer nothing of interest.
I think everyone can relate to being in, like, you just even go into hotels that have, like, a limited channel selection.
Well,
and you're
daytime
flipping,
television
you're just going through it, you're like, this is all garbage. This is all terribly boring, and I don't care about any of it. So you just settle on one thing if you have nothing to do. So already very relatable. And I remember when I first read this, like, I knew the point of the story was this fictional television show, but I was almost expecting that to be a misdirect. I'm more interested in what's happening, why he's in the hospital, what's it for, and so there's a lot of just, you know, a lot of interest already surrounding this.
Good, because front loading.
Not front loading.
Front loading.
I'm in the hospital is not front loading.
I'm in the hospital, and something I watched is going to be crazy.
He just said he inadvertently memorized it. That's it.
Okay, if I'd have been more of a sports fan, I never would have watched this.
The live-action pilot episode is much like you'd expect, with an introduction of characters and setting and the overarching plot of an ongoing series. Nia, but I think it's Nia. Might be Nia, but I think it's Nia.
Just say Nia.
Was a young girl, maybe 10 to 12 years old. The premise of the series seemed to be that Nia and her father, a scientist, lived in a world like our own, but scientific research and technology were a bit more advanced.
Nia's father appeared to be perfecting a time travel device. He explained how this device would work in great detail, spewing forth a great flood of scientific jargon that seemed to serve no real purpose. Children and adults alike could not possibly be educated in any capacity by such high-minded gibberish.
So basically calling out technobabble, which definitely has its faults, but I've always had a fondness for.
Well, it depends on the technobabble. Like, if it's just a whole bunch of, like, literally just words strung together, that's one thing. But sometimes technobabble isn't just babble. Sometimes it relates to solving the problem, and it's fun to figure it out.
So when, let's take a Next Generation episode when, like, there's something wrong with the dilithium core of the engine, the Enterprise's engine, and they're balancing matter versus antimatter. Is that like typically technobabble that doesn't serve any purpose, or is that actually them? It's
somewhere in between, because it sort of makes sense, but real scientifically you can't do any of it. So I mean, it makes sense in the sense that they're saying, oh, you reverse the polarity. That actually means something.
Okay, so they're basically playing around with a scientific concept, but the factors and the ingredients are fantastical.
Right.
Okay, so there is
like
something
annihilating antimatter. You can do that.
Okay.
But like
dilithium crystals, I don't think they're a thing.
No.
And if they are, they probably don't power something that can go faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on the technobabble.
Okay, cool. Cutting to the chase, Nia surprised her father in his lab, causing the device to become activated by mistake. There's a flash of light and then nothing. Just a white screen.
The show actually spent a few minutes on this white expanse before degrading into a hiss of static. Then the picture seemed to come in as if someone was moving the television antenna back and forth, trying to get the signal back.
The setting was nothing short of hellish. Red-tinged night sky, hulking abandoned ruins of skyscrapers, and just garbage and rubble everywhere. Nia climbs from a huge pile of refuse, soiled and bleeding from what were probably scrap metal jabs. She looks scared. Very, very scared. And disoriented. She threw up twice, and as the camera zoomed on in the grotesque details, it didn't look staged. Then the afterpeople started to appear.
It wasn't anything I was prepared for. The afterpeople were large, insect-like creatures that looked a bit like roaches. They had flat sort of bodies, long twitching antennae, and faces that looked like they were in the middle of a long, slow millennial drift between bug and human. Nye.
Bill Nye, the science girl.
Bill Nye, the 10-year-old girl. Nia froze as these things came out of the garbage, literally climbing out of the heaps. Despite the fact I knew these were just very tall, very thin actors in convincing rubber suits, I felt scared too.
Now, I don't like cockroaches.
No, neither do I.
Most people don't.
There was this movie I saw when I was a kid. I don't remember the movie, but there was just like a room. Like it was one of those where they shrunk themselves. And they went in and they had to fight cockroaches. And there was just yellow mustard blood everywhere. And it's like the most disgusting scene I've ever seen. And that's partially why I hate cockroaches.
They are, and like, there's tons of different types of roaches too. There's very colorful ones. There's very like just like really cool ones that you see in zoos and such. The average cockroach you get in urban societies is just kind of the basic slimy little gross one. The way, and this is kind of a spoiler, but the way that the After People are described in this story is adorable.
Yeah,
I love them.
Why are you now you're front loading? you're putting all of
maybe
the
people
emphasis.
Will feel different.
Maybe you should say that afterwards and when you want to give your opinion.
I'm just saying, right, already it's like they're giant people in rubber suits. Like, to me that's adorable. That's not scary, like, or gross.
Like immediately he gives you the impression that they're not harmful at all.
They're just furries.
You mean scalies or exoskeletonies?
Carapaces. Oh man. Okay. The After People.
I want to start. Can we go to an exoskeletonies convention?
Sure. We'll start one for the 3 people who are into that. The After People circled Nia and closed in on her. She screamed at them, just this inhuman scream that one makes when there's nothing to do but let out the loudest and most disturbing sound you can manage. They stopped. One of the After People cautiously approached the girl, keeping as much distance as he could, while his antennae touched her forehead. She recoiled, seemed unsure of the creature's true intent.
I don't think it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I think it was a different thing that was like, sucking on that fad. But it was like a Disney Channel original movie or something like that.
Oh God.
Okay.
The monthly movies.
Yeah, where was I?
You're at App.
The roach thing hummed. Appa. Nia looked at it quizzically. Apple, it buzzed. Apple. Boat. A para at a apple. A person eat a apple. A person float a boat. You're learning to talk? Nia said what I was thinking. It was almost unanimous. The thing didn't answer. It turned away from her and busily scuttled among the other After People, touching antenna with them, after which each one it had touched went about contacting more of them.
Now, very sci-fi concept. You have some type of organ that can assimilate someone's language and then you pass it amongst the hive mind. Very cool, though. I like it. I like it. It sets up the fact that they're all going to interact with Nia at this point. And she can talk with them as opposed to just being like, bugs. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Well, I mean, I like right away, right? Because supposedly she's in the super future.
Future.
And all that's left is cockroaches that evolved into intelligent or semi-intelligent beings.
Which that on its own is kind of novel. I've seen it a little bit in other things.
It's not novel, but it's definitely not explored enough.
No, it's like,
it's one of these ideas that
roaches will survive fallout. Yeah, but like, what if they then became sentient and stuff,
or dominant? And more importantly, dominant.
It's really cool.
But oh, my mommy's calling me. Hi, mommy. I have to decline. I'll talk to you later.
You can get calls out here in space.
How are we streaming this?
Shut up. Don't question the deep lore. The rest of the episode focused on Nia and the After People roaming the city, looking for her father. I knew right away that they wouldn't find him. You can't have a long-lasting adventure if you achieve the goal straight away. That's so meta. And so, it was over. Nothing special. That night and the following day, I didn't even give the show another thought. I really like that little detail of, I know they're not going to find him for a while because then the show wouldn't be multiple episodes long.
Yeah.
Which is telling us, hey, there's more to this story.
Well, of course.
And we're gonna go through many episodes.
Right.
It's great.
And now I was just talking about this with you yesterday about how TV shows don't give you endings anymore, and if they do, they're unsatisfying because endings don't make money.
Movies too. It's most movies aren't like all these cinematic universes are not concerned about how to end a movie because it has to set up the next one, which sets up the next one, which sets up the next one, or the eventual crossover to set up new ones that set up the next one, and it just keeps going.
So because of that, you can sort of like you have this intuition about formula, but whatever. Episode 2, episode 002. Settling in. Nia must make her way in the land of the after people. And they all have special presents for her.
Aww.
Oh man, sorry about my nose. It's just
allergies are bad this time of year on the planet. For both of us.
It's dusty outside. 1 second.
You embarrass me? Oh, you embarrassed me. You embarrassed me twice.
Oh no, mommy's calling me back. In this
I honestly. You lost it, didn't you?
I honestly didn't intend to watch the show a second time. I don't even really know why I did. Oh god. I was flipping through the channels, and when I saw the red tinged sky, I just put down the remote, and that was that. In the second episode, we saw Nia more accepting of her surroundings with the help of several after people.
Okay, you need to blow your nose.
Okay, fine.
You're doing that after every clause.
I'll go open the door and let out the space.
And now it's my turn to talk to everybody. Hello, how are you doing? You're looking very handsome today. I can't see you, but I know you're all lovely.
Yes, noses run on the planet.
Well, sure, sinuses are sinuses.
There's enough gravity for
that. Did you finish? I don't think you finished the thing.
You can cut all this out, right? Fix it in post.
On the live stream? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We're not live right now or anything.
No, I guess not.
Good job.
I still have to sneeze, by the way.
Great. With the help of several afterpeople, she had set up a sort of living space in one of the ruined buildings. The afterpeople brought her things, but they seemed unable to determine what she might want. A rotting teddy bear, a deflated ball, a tattered shred of trash bag with an interesting stain, a frayed and dirty wig, a section of a mannequin unceremoniously dragged in by its face.
At one point during what seemed like a drawn-out and pointless flood of gifts, one of the afterpeople brought Nia a human femur. At first she took it in her hands, but as soon as the realization hit her, she shrieked and threw it to the floor.
The thing that brought it to her reacted with panic, circling the floor, the walls, the ceiling as it let out a series of whines. Oh, they're really cute. They don't get it.
Get out, Nia screamed at it. Get out, never come back.
Oh. The camera followed the terrified face of the afterperson as it darted out of the room. Then it cut to a bird's eye view as the creature continued down the street and into the distance. This really disturbed and annoyed me. I understood why Nia was mad and that she probably didn't mean it, but I didn't know why the writers would put in such a cruel scene. I switched the show off.
The scene disturbed me so much that I dreamt about it that night. I basically dreamt I was there instead of Nia, and that I consoled the afterperson as it buzzed and whined. I made everything okay, unlike her.
Episode 003, The Party. The afterpeople throw a big party for Nia. She can't eat what they eat.
Yay!
Will she be honest, or just pretend? Will she be fake? Fake fan?
The doctors told me I was having complications. There was a really painful sore on my leg, and nurses were coming by more and more often to check on me. Excuse me. Nobody would say it, but I knew each time they were relieved to find me conscious.
They'd walk in with a loud and cheery, "Hey!" and their false smiles grow into real ones when I stirred or answered them. So it's at this point I'm really wondering, okay, what's wrong with him? Are we going to know? Is it important? Or is it just important that he's not feeling well?
I had obsessed over how cruel the last episode of the show had been. I couldn't think of much else. And maybe, because of my medication, my thoughts were getting foggy. I was in a strange, hazy place, between analytically disliking the scene and feeling like it actually happened, and I was really mourning a sad turn of events.
Now, this is really interesting. We know he's on heavy medication. We know he's got something terrible happening to him. And reality is starting to blur. It's like he's having fever dreams. I'm sure everyone's been there at some point. After a surgery or, a bad dentist.
Well, not only that, he's alone a lot of the time too, which
Mhm.
gives him time to dwell and think about this reality.
To think about it too much.
Yeah.
And when the mind gets obsessed on things, that's bad. So it's creating in my mind, how much of the show is real, or is he just making it up?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I think it's your turn.
Yes, it is. I had obsessed, or did you just read that?
I just read that.
You did it. Okay. I don't even remember turning on the third episode, and if I did, if it wasn't a nurse, I can only think I wanted to see if the previous problem had solved itself. Maybe I tuned out too early and missed the happy resolution. The After People had miraculously cleaned a section of street and erected crude structures from rubble and trash. A stick figure made of bent and half-melted steel beams stood against the crimson landscape, and the After People proclaimed it to be a beautiful monument to a Talk Mother. That's their name for Nia, a Talk Mother.
Nia sat on a heap of trash, barely formed into a throne. She looked uncomfortable and disgusted, though everything on the show seemed clean. The trash was free of maggots or ooze because it seemed like that had all come and gone over a long expanse of time.
Now, is that accurate?
What?
That things would just
So biomatter decays really fast, right?
Right.
But stuff like plastic, metal
will be around for a long time. Styrofoam.
So, I think they're saying that let's say maybe 10,000 years have passed.
Okay.
Right? Or 20,000 years have passed. Some stuff would still be around. But organic matter would not be there.
And depending on...
Unless it's been mummified, right?
Petrified.
Or mummified, yeah. Or, in some way it becomes non-organic matter. Because when something becomes mummified, sometimes it's replaced with other materials.
Mm-hmm.
So, it comes in and forms the shape so you have rocks with the little shapes of the bugs in them.
Yeah.
That is rock. It's all rock. It's just taken the shape of the fossil.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Still, she was uneasy. The After People circled and whizzed about before her, almost as if they were dancing, but their movements seemed random and dizzying. "You see," called out one of the After People, "a very good design. A very smart."
A very smart. I started to see it as a camera pulled back and upward. The insect things moved madly, angular legs sweeping and antennae fluttering. They circled and spun and moved in strange lines, but they never bumped into each other. They never even touched. At the far sides of the group, After People made identical movements. It was like a large Rorschach test, made of excited bugs.
So it's kind of like these weird, nonsensical, concentric circles.
One thing I am curious about is if Twinkies would still be around.
Good.
Gosh, all she needs to find is a stack of Twinkies, and then she's good.
Snowballs.
The two things that will survive the post-apocalypse are cockroaches and Twinkies.
Mm-hmm. Nia didn't see it. She leaned her chin in her hand and pouted, rolled her eyes. "Look, you jerk!" I spit the words out like an angry drunk. "Look at what they're doing. They're doing it for you, and you're not even looking." After a few more moments, they all slowed to a stop and turned expectantly toward Nia. She slow clapped at them, sarcastically. They seemed pleased nonetheless, and all began touching antennae with each other.
They're too dumb to understand sarcasm.
I know.
Aww.
The scene faded to black. It's so sad. It's not their fault.
This was when it occurred to me that After People, what I'd seen of it, had never been interrupted by commercial breaks. The camera panned across the landscape again, but this time from a very distant location. The entire cityscape was ravaged, and unlike most movies or shows you'd see, nothing moved, nothing fell. It all genuinely looked like something that had long fallen into ruin and was done collapsing.
The scene shifted to Nia once again on the throne. She looked really tired and cranky. I'm so hungry, she groaned. Of course, I'd never seen her eat anything, and what was there to eat? There hadn't been a plant or animal in sight except for the after people.
Very easy to see, responded one of the creatures, clacking its mandibles with worry. A problem! The creatures scattered, and 15 to 20 minutes of the show focused entirely on Nia sitting there, trying to press her stomach as hard as she could, like she was in pain. She seemed to almost pass out several times, her head nodded sharply.
Finally, the things returned. They carried various objects, just like when they brought the gifts. Nia turned her nose up at almost everything, as would anyone. Congealed balls of unidentifiable matter, pieces of insulation. They just picked up anything that could theoretically be chewed, that theoretically could be chewed, and brought it back post-haste. I need food, understand? Nia snapped. Like apple. Remember apple? Or meat? I need meat.
The after people exchanged looks. Even with their blank, armored faces and lidless eyes, they seemed concerned. A meat, they repeated among themselves. When has anyone seen a meat, and what is it? What do you eat? Nia cried out.
One of the after people slowly approached, once again totting the ball of matter. It was slick, glistening, like some sort of fleshy egg covered in patterns of what looked to be green and black veins. She took the orb, desperation in her eyes, and she bit into its skin. The episode abruptly ended.
Ew. Space fruit. Mousy.
I don't, like, do you want to speculate on what that thing could even be?
Space, it's fruit. Like,
it's fruit with veins?
It could be some, like, fungi that evolved.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it could be anything.
I'm trying to think of something.
Maybe it's eggs of a larger monster.
That's a good, maybe. Like eggs they take from
maybe
another
they eat their own young.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, that doesn't really introduce matter into their system, though.
True.
So.
True, I don't know. There's got to be other fauna and flora in this weird ecosystem.
One would assume, but nobody really knows.
And it's a fictional show, so who knows? Yeah. Okay. All right. Episode 004. That's just different. Something different is happening, and the after people are acting weird. Important safety tips. So we have a show that's kind of dressing itself up as a kid show, but the substance is absolutely not. And that's what makes this weird, because, like, how much of this is, I know I already said it, but how much of this is the protagonist just having a fever dream? How much of it is real? I don't know.
Maybe he's seeing into the future.
Maybe. But I'm so much more engrossed in the show than what's happening to him, but I do want to know what's happening to him. It's crazy how this one's written. I now had a sick fascination with this series. It was like watching a car wreck, where you can see the blood, but you can't see the real carnage. So you crane your neck to look, even though you know you don't want to see. You know you'll never be able to forget anything you catch a glimpse of. I
was still feeling like hell. Still in a vague stupor, and even though it made me physically sick to my stomach. I wanted to see where the show was going. I had a slight inkling that maybe they'd turn it all around, and we'd get some sort of happy payoff, even though I knew that was unlikely. As the episode description stated, the after people were acting weird. Very weird.
So Beth has a theory, they're eating their own poop.
Well, even still, I mean...
You can't do that, because then, yeah, how do you, like...
You have to, maybe, but,
yeah.
I mean, then their species would be dwindling, right? Because I imagine you have to get energy from elsewhere to support your species, so...
What if they are eating just, like, old decaying biomatter, but they're just looking at all clean because they're cockroaches? That's why everything around their home looks clean, because they've already consumed it all.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
Yeah. And so they can still eat their own poop as, like, a last-ditch effort.
But they still would have had to, like, have time to evolve to that state.
True.
So still a lot of time has passed.
And we have no idea, like, how far in the future this is.
And we have no idea, like, what else survived.
Yeah. Okay. Where am I? They scuttled? Yeah.
Yeah.
They scuttled and darted about as Nia tried to follow them, but couldn't pick out one of the identical creatures to tag along with. She was now a bit stronger, but showing a clear look of being in a half-demented sort of shock. What's happening? She demanded, repeatedly, her voice hoarse and cracking.
She coughed several times as this continued, and at one point her lips started bleeding without her even noticing. "Be flat!" screamed one of the after people as it passed her by. Get flat and be flat in a while.
She didn't understand, and neither did I. It was just insane to begin a television episode with everyone wheeling about in a frenzy, and I assumed the station must have started running the show at the wrong scene. Why would I? Nia screamed. Why should I get flat? What's happening?
All the after people froze, except for their antennae. Each of them moved their antennae in separate, opposing spirals. One of them broke from the group and rushed Nia, headbutting her and knocking her to the cracked and blistered pavement. As she fell, all the others flattened themselves against the ground. They were way too flat to be men in costumes. And it was slowly dawning on me that for a while now I had been accepting these creatures as legitimate living beings. The earth rumbled.
Nia tried to get up, but now the vibrations were what forced her to the ground. What's happening? She yelled, her voice distorted and nearly drowned out by the rumbling all around her. There was no reply. The picture began to blur, and the screen's vertical hold started rolling. I swear I could feel the hospital bed shaking, though I told myself it was just
I guess that was what happened to them.
Though I told myself it was just my pounding pulse.
The show cut to shots of buildings and trash piles, the open sky. All the while, the din of moving earth erupted from the television speakers. I had to turn it down as the sound grew louder, fearing I'd bother the other patients in the next room. When it finally died down, when things returned to normal, I turned it back up and listened to Nia weeping and sniveling as she lay in the fetal position.
The after people all circled her yet again, moving slowly and sweeping their antennae over her small body. This is a flat time, said one. A flat time is you get flat, helpfully added another. Stand and also it is okay. After she collected herself as much as she could, now seeing that she was looking a lot like a husk of a person, Nia once again resolved to look for her father. She delivered one of the darkest lines I've ever heard in what was quickly revealing itself to not be family entertainment. If I can't find Daddy, she wiped her nose on her sleeve, I'll cut my own lousy throat.
How many kids do you know use the word lousy?
I wonder. We have no idea when this is taking place.
Yeah.
The future show or the current hospital room. It's strangely timeless.
Episode 5. A Look to Find. Many scrappings are
Scrappings
are undug among the ruins. Nia can share one of them. I was in a coma for a short while. Even now I don't know how long. All I remember is daydreaming about Nia and now I was helping her. And then my eyes opened to a bright light and a crowd of people standing over me. My head hurt. Everything hurt. I couldn't move or speak.
In my dream, I was walking through that red landscape with Nia, and the after people followed. Together we made up a strange sort of search party, beating on piles of trash, sweeping through buildings, calling out for Nia's father. Since they never gave his name on the show, in my mind we all called out that of my dad. We all called out that of my dad.
Yeah, his dad's name.
Okay, gotcha.
Before the dream ended, Nia took my hands in hers. I was dressed in a hospital gown. She in dirty, bloody clothes, her face smeared, and her eyes wild. If I don't get home, her eyes locked with mine. You know what to do.
Oof. The last image I saw was a brief flash of the two of us, holding hands, splayed on the ground with our throats slit, shards of rusted broken metal in our flesh. The nurses assured me, all of them assured me, that I'd be able to move again. The doctor, a world-class asshole, undid all of this when he checked in and absently minded what a shame and another one we couldn't save. I guess he thought I couldn't hear him, but still.
One of the nurses, my favorite, the only one who really talked to me, like I wasn't a moron, left that damn show on for me. She'd even read me the upcoming episode blurbs while I screamed profanities at her in my head. She thought she was doing me a favor, but given the coma visions I'd experienced, I wanted nothing more than to turn it off.
Is there a parallel between how the After People are helping Nia and how the nurses are helping him?
I don't know.
There's a helplessness for both Nia and the protagonist.
Yeah, maybe.
And I didn't really think about this the first time we read this, but now that I'm reading it again, because there seems a bit of a disconnect between what this story is about, even though I'm really enjoying it. Like, it is horrifying, but isn't really paced or structured like a horror story.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I feel like shit. And now we have a little bit of, oh, we can't help him, he may die, but he was kind of on this decline for a while.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a downward slope as opposed to like a 3-act structure.
Like the evolved cave bug, the evolved primitive cave bugs are just as helpful as our superior health system.
Kind of, yeah. That might be just me interpreting.
Well,
wildly.
they are both fighting for survival, so you could make that argument.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And how much of this is him just projecting onto the TV show?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you think in the comments below.
Gross. Got really close to that mic.
Real close. It's my mic. I can do what I want with it.
That's why I never go close to the mic.
I've got my germs on it. I tried to will my arms to move, even just my fingers, but it was no use. The most I could do would be to close my eyes, and even then the audio would flow uninhibited into my consciousness. The After People joined Nia in searching once again for her father. I knew it was pointless. She probably even knew it was pointless. I don't know what the creatures thought, if anything. It was hard to tell if they had genuine ideas and motivations, or if they just fed off of whatever Nia was doing thinking. I would think that's true because they're a hive mind. Like, they do have some sentience and some personality, but it's very, very, very limited.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
They're the super evolved ants.
If they can get language from her brain, they've got to be able to get images too.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
Like that. I mean, that's all they have to go on, is the mind of a child, to interpret the mind of a child.
And like, how do you how we communicate as humans is very different from how animals communicate. And concepts like advanced thought and language must be so difficult for even a hyper-evolved bug to comprehend. I'm looking for my father. There was a time machine accident. How on earth do you communicate such a concept to a more simple individual?
Yeah.
And that's where the tragedy in this is. It's not just that she's alone, she can't find her dad. It's that they are helping the best they can.
It's not enough.
They're getting nothing out of it. They don't have to help her.
No, yeah.
She's not giving them anything. They just want to. They're like altruistic bugs, and that's why it's like they're so cute, and I feel so bad for them. Right. I don't really care about her.
Well, it's yeah, for sure. And then like, I had a thing, but
yeah, the thing.
My brain is clogged right now.
So one of the reasons we wanted to read this story, we're just taking like a quick little analysis break, is this feels like a pulp sci-fi story.
For sure, it does.
And
it sounds like one.
We've read a number of those in the show. We haven't done it in a while, but I want to again. I know most people don't like them, but I like them, so I'm going to do it. This feels like a lot of the old stories we've read from the 50s and 60s, and it's got a charm and just an intriguing quality to it that's very fun to discuss and dissect.
And these little bugs are so cute.
They're so cute.
And they're so stupid at the same time.
But they just want to help. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest tragedy for me is think of what they'd be capable of if they had another mind. If they had some more intelligent or more mature person to discuss things with them. Yeah. But even still, I mean, the way I see it is they're at an evolutionary stage where they're somewhere in between being dominant and being there. So they're gonna get there anyways. Is what it seems like. It seems like they're gonna. This is the dawn of a new Earth age, is what it feels like.
This is humanity now.
Oh, where am I?
I got to see more of their world.
I got to see more of their world. More than I wanted to. Boiling, steaming ponds, vast expanses of bare black soil. There was a huge chasm just outside the city that seemed to go on forever. and the after people wouldn't go anywhere near it. Stop to the hole, they urged. A very bad inside that. A very bad and come up to eat a friend. Eat a friend and screaming and blooding. It does for long.
So there's a predator that they fear. Or there's something there. Maybe not a predator.
Yeah. They're the sheeple.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the food chain.
Nia ignored them and looked over the edge into the abyss. The camera switched between the impossible, dark depths of the chasm and gradually closer shots of Nia's wide, disbelieving eyes. This, shouted one of the creatures. Nia turned as if snapping out of some sort of trance. This, insisted an after person as Nia sprinted toward it. She obviously thought it had something to do with her search. This, and some of it, the creature gleefully opened its jaws and dropped a scrap of paper at Nia's feet.
It was a magazine cover. And on it was a picture of President Bill Clinton with the words, Commander in, leading to a torn section. This is what, and now we're done. The creature twiddled its antenna, and others came in close to look at the item. What? Nia said. Nia shook her head. No, that's not my father. God, don't you even understand? A look of horror came over Nia as her face turned even more pale than it had been. She backed away from the creatures and whirled around several times, studying the things that were vibrating their antenna toward her.
You don't understand, she screamed, tears in her eyes. You don't even understand what you're looking for. The camera zoomed in on the faded, distressed photo of Clinton, smiling, half his face gone along with the surface of it was printed on.
Okay, now here's interesting, because remember...
Hold on, we got two left. I had no idea who he was, but not because I was only 7 years old. This was the year 1986.
Oh, so she was older than that, or?
Well, so the protagonist...
Oh, it was the future from where she was.
Yeah.
What was the year that they time traveled it from? Does it say?
We don't know. That's the thing. Well, we know I'm assuming he...
I'm pretty sure it says, doesn't it? I think
it just says he's 7, right?
Oh no, the dude in the bed. The dude in the bed is He
was 7 at the time this happened.
He was in a coma?
Yeah.
At 7?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because that's the last thing we get is I had no idea who he was, but not only because I was only 7 years old.
Oh, the year that he was in bed was 1986.
This was the year 1986. So Clinton didn't become president
until the 90s.
Until 93.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that's interesting here to me is the fact that they found somebody who looks like a man in a photo. Mm-hmm. So maybe they do have images to go off from her mind.
Or they just used her generally as a reference. That looks human-ish.
Right, but they found a picture of a man.
This is true.
That's what I find interesting.
This is true. So now, it is not unusual for shows to predict the future. The Simpsons predicts a lot of stuff. They predicted Trump, for example.
Well, that's because they predicted everything.
Yeah.
Nobody points out the things that didn't come true.
Oh, sure, but like...
It's very Nostradamus
it's very, like... it's hard for me to say, oh, this is really from the future, or it's just good at predicting the future. And maybe that's not important for the story. I don't know.
I predict that in the future, we will have a president, white hair. Again.
That's all of them. Trump
has yellow hair.
Give it...
Obama had black hair.
Give it 2 more years. He had, but by the end of his presidency... Now, look at before and after pictures. Like, the presidency ages people so fast. Because it's like the hardest job in the world.
For sure.
Even if you're a lazy fuck.
Like, that was my joke. That was...
I get it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I mean, I get it. I ain't laughing. But I get it.
Episode 7. Today is Happy Talk Mother. No description.
Ooh.
It would still be weeks before I moved again, and the embarrassment of being tended to, made to urinate in one tube and eat through another, was still fresh to me. They had no idea, the nurses, how much they had hurt me through, though they tried to be gentle, and it was pain I couldn't even express, much less do anything to soothe it. Gosh, I remember when I was in the hospital, it kind of traumatized me. Like,
sure,
they do everything to help you, but it sucks being in the hospital and you don't want to go back, and it's like a harrowing experience.
Yeah. When After People started again, I actually wept out of fear, which in my state just seemed to mean my eyes were agitated and elicited no more consideration than some fooling with my eyelids and a few eye drops. Nia was just sitting among garbage. Her legs were just haphazardly jutting out at weird angles on the ground. So, yeah, when you're a kid and you watch something you shouldn't, that's too mature for you, it's a little traumatizing, and you turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
I think the horror here is, imagine if you couldn't.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're 7 and you're watching an R-rated movie and you can't stop it. That is very scary.
I don't think that's the horror, but like,
I think that's part of it. I think that's the problem for him. Yeah, he's undergoing some traumatic medical situation. He also can't turn off this scary movie.
Yeah.
And he's very scared. He just has to deal with it.
Well, it's more like he has to face what's happening to him, too, if we're bringing parallels back in.
Sure, and I think there is a parallel here. I'll be interested to see what Slimey says, if he's listening.
He's not.
He's not.
He's not.
No one listens to this. The people currently in the chat are all
I
figments of my imagination.
I blame that on the fact that our transmission is really weak, and it can barely reach the earth.
It's difficult when you don't talk into the mic.
I'm talking right into the mic.
You are not.
Yes,
You're facing me.
How do...
You're going to be facing where your phone is, and your phone's in this direction. Sorry, your tablet view screen.
Say the next bit. I'm done. I'm done reading.
Her skin... no, I just read.
When the After People started again...
No. That's me. Her skin. You're at her skin.
Her skin, which at the beginning of the series was just milky white, soft-looking, perfect like a little actress would be. Her skin was now ruddy, blistered, and peeling, like something was slowly roasting her. She stared into space, stared at me. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap, and her bottom lip was black from the old dried blood that had long since spilled from her face several episodes previous.
I wonder how much time has passed in the show.
It's not clear.
We don't get a sense of that either. This whole thing is a terrifying fever dream.
I think that's on purpose, though.
Yes, definitely.
For sure. Because, what is time to the After People?
Oh, good question.
There's no concept of time.
No. Things just happen. Oh, there's an earthquake now. Everyone stop. Okay, back to normal. The After People just crossed in front of her, scurried to and fro, circling and climbing walls with no real purpose. Then, a voice in the distance. A happy day! Nia slowly turned her head, expression still vacant.
A happy day, Talk Mother, cried out one of the creatures as it approached from a distance. A happy day is you because of Abyss!
The camera was just above the ground, showing only the top of the After Person as it moved in front of Nia, who looked on indifferently. The creature was labored in its stride, moving as if carrying a great weight. Hear this! It proudly proclaimed. The camera cut to a full shot.
Lying at Nia's feet, with the excited After Person standing just over it, was the rotting, half-disemboweled corpse of her own father. A thing from a hole looked away. Oh, a thing from a hole looked away, the After Person explained. When it looked, I looked, and then walked. Quickly walked, and now to bring this. With no response from the girl, I just continued to elaborate. Here for you. Your thing you wanted.
Nia looked up from the corpse to the After Person. It gleefully pushed the body toward her and backed away. A meat! I closed my eyes. I shut them as tight as I could. After that episode, there was no more. It didn't matter, though, even if I never saw that wretched monstrosity again. It would always be with me.
I would forever hear Nia chewing. And every time that sound came back, it takes everything I have not to keep from slitting my throat. She ate her own father! Get it? He's so clever!
Because she had to survive, and they don't get it, and they're stupid. But it's not their fault. And we can assume that he survives, because he's like, I remember that.
Well, the sad thing about this, right? The real tragedy is that she ate her own father, and she's still gonna die anyways. Mm-hmm. Because there's nothing else, and she's clearly malnutrition. She's dying. And dying.
Yeah. And it's just gonna be another weird little, chapter in the After People's lives, because now they have some semblance of language. Well, but it's almost like they don't even need it, because they only use it to talk. Well, no, they do talk to each other, but it's always like at her prompt. Like when she dies, do they even have a use for
Maybe
this language
they have their
anymore?
own language, but
I don't know what they do. But are they going to use English after she's gone? I wonder.
But I don't know.
Will that influence their evolution?
What is more interesting to me is how the story of Neo will go down in their history, because that is almost like a godlike event that it's hand down in an oral tradition, right? So
remember the Talk Mother. That's how. That's actually, yeah, maybe like this invents oral tradition for them because they'll pass it on to their young. Remember Talk Mother. That's how we got these words. That was her throne. That's our monument to her.
This pile of trash over here.
Well, that's all they have.
Yeah.
The world is trashed. Literally trashed at this point. Oh, that is I love this story. Like, I liked it the first time. Having read it again, I think within a week of reading it the first time, I really like it. It has so many nice qualities to it. It's very kind of untraditional. It reminds me of more classic creepypasta of just like, here's journal entries of stuff happening.
Here, a classic creepypasta of actually believing that creepypasta is real.
Kind of. It's a bit meta in that. It's not so far back that it's the short paragraphs that you just pass around. It's more the just epistolary journal entry style. But there's so much in it, and there's so much I'm wondering about, and oh my god, it's great. I like it a lot. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. How long have we been streaming? Almost an hour.
A whole hour.
A whole hour.
I'm sure people will be tired of my runny nose.
Yes. Sorry for allergies. Allergies are a thing here. They're not fun on any planet.
They've been coming back for me lately, which is interesting.
Yeah. Pick that up?
No.
No, not gonna pick that up.
No. So. How do you feel now after reading that story?
Sad, but I really want to play some Fallout right now.
Yes, it's very Fallout.
It's I don't know, man.
Like, this is after Mad Max. Maybe Mad Max did happen, and then like they all killed each other.
It makes me think about shows such as The Walking Dead and how very, very few pieces of visual media, like a movie or a TV show, do post-apocalypse well. A lot of them just get very, very boring for me. Video games do it very well because you're experiencing it. You're trying to survive via your character. And Mad Max, especially Fury Road, is just a good movie, in my opinion, so it does it well. What's another good... Oh, Blade Runner is kind of... Not really... It's more future dystopia, but at least in 2049, like, there's entire swaths of the planet that are just desolate. It does that very well. And this story, the setting is wonderful. It's just, it's thought-provoking as much as it is immersive. And I really like that.
Yeah.
That's
and Beth is over there giving us merchandising options.
Oh.
Getting greeting cards with phrases and t-shirts that say "a meat."
Oh my god, yes. A happy day is you because of this. Oh, okay, Beth. We had offers actually from oh shit, was it Levecki? I think it was Levecki. The same person who made the shirts for Undercooked Analysis. I've been offered, do I want to kind of like get shirts made? And I've been thinking about it for a while.
Wow, you didn't tell me that.
Well, because we have our basic logo, but it's nothing super unique and special.
That on a shirt,
exactly.
Like on a purple shirt, would be pretty fucking awesome.
This, maybe. We could definitely have this as a default design, but I kind of want a shirt of, we'll have to get permission from Slimey, of course, on this, but like an after person holding up a head or something and saying, "A happy day to you because of this."
Holding up like a green ball of mush.
Yes, that's even better. The weird green veiny egg thing. Oh my god, I need to talk to someone about this because that would be really fun.
That is so niche. Nobody will ever
I don't
get it.
care. It's awesome.
You have the weirdest t-shirts to begin with.
Well, then, and put it on the back just like the Raygun readers.
Nobody knows what Night Vale is, and you wear that everywhere.
A lot of people know what Night Vale is.
Yeah, but a lot of people
Random
don't.
people at Chipotle will be like, "Oh, nice Night Vale shirt." I'm not joking. This has happened.
Okay, fine.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I need to get in some talks with people about merchandising.
Oh yeah, who was it?
Licensing.
Holly wanted, or a person we know wanted to throw a Night Vale party.
Oh, so Beth says, I don't think I've ever felt my heart sink further after hearing a meet. Yeah, this is a sad story. It's sad on many levels.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very well done, and it's
Say very alive.
very, 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 very well done. And in our age of shitty horror movies and shittier online horror fiction that's getting popular for no apparent reason, this stands out to me. This really, it's outside the box.
Yeah.
Compared to what I read on a daily basis, you know. And so I wanted to read it on here.
I've been like completely dissatisfied with a lot of the media we've been seeing lately, and how unoriginal and uncreative it is. In some, like, they don't break the formula.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for another time.
That is
a whole nother episode.
That'll be a proper episode.
But it has actually inspired me to come up with interesting premises. But I don't think I'll ever actually write them down. We'll see.
I mean, just write down the premise, because I mean, I want to get original content out for this channel. I don't know what that's going to look like, but, you know, write stuff down. Always write stuff down, even if you never use it. I've got a list on my phone. This goes for everybody, for any creative type who doesn't know this. Just write it down. If you have an idea that seems interesting, keep a running list on your phone or your computer, or even like physically on a notebook, and just have it there if you ever have to revisit it. It's a great idea. Yeah. You know. Oh, gosh. Okay, well, thank you everybody for showing up for today's stream. I think the next episode is going to be a proper one. We're going to pre-record and I'll edit and such. I hope you enjoyed the Subnautica thing. Let me know if you did. I want to review more types of media like that in the future when they occur to me. And I'm just going to do it. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions as well of stuff we should check out, please let us know. If you think we'd like it and if it's thought-provoking, we'd love to check it out. Be it video games, movies, music, whatever. Plugs. We did an episode with the Witching Hour about the Cloverfield Paradox. I think I already talked about that recently.
We're gonna be doing another one about what?
Well, they probably know what it is now, but
well, am I not supposed to say that?
I don't know that we're allowed to say it.
Oh.
Like, I don't know. So whatever. We're always working on many things with many channels. But yeah, what else? I got a song out called Dark Fibrous Materials. I worked very hard on it. It's very weird, and I understand if you don't like it, but I just like to showcase my work.
I don't like it.
I know you don't like it.
I'm kidding. It's a fine song.
Yeah, it's weird. I did a lot of just weird stuff with it. I was trying to push my abilities, and I just wanted to put it out there for people to see, because that is me trying to think outside the box on a song, and I want to see people's opinions. Like it, hate it, don't care, just want to know. We just put out another episode of Raw Dog Readings that you were on. So
what? I was on it.
What? Oh my
when
god!
Did it happen?
I don't know. You were drunk.
Must have been.
You've been drinking the rocket fuel.
Apparently, I've been drinking your excrement. You didn't tell me these things.
No, I thought you knew.
I've been getting really lonely out here. All that there is rocket fuel. There's no meat. Or water.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm gonna have an uncomfortable association with the word meat for a while.
Oh god.
Okay.
That's a scary thought. Alright, let me go call my mommy.
You go call your mom. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Fun times. Had by all.